Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to have a look at being intentional with our energy. So in the last video, we looked at embracing the could be rather than having to think about how things should manifest. We just kind of allow for things to manifest, keeping our thoughts focused on what it is that we are creating, keeping our thoughts self-disciplined on positive affirmations and being optimistic about what we are seeing in our reality. But when we are doing this, we are actually being intentional with our energy. And when we are understanding that our energy is actually kind of a force that we hold within. It's a big power that we hold within. And when we are creating energy from thought, it really comes from the repetition and also the habitual ways that we show up every day. So when whatever it is that we're manifesting or whatever it is that we are doing, we are actually showing up being intentional with our energy. But I wanted to bring a little focus onto it for the simple reason that when we are maybe stressed or anxious, or maybe we find ourselves wavering in our reality. So anything we see outside, as I mentioned in the last video, is a reflection of what energy and thoughts that we have been creating beforehand. So if everything is in the present moment, it means that we're always creating from the present moment. So if I continue to think thoughts in the present moment that are in my favor, I'm obviously directing my energy in a positive way, and I'm directing my thoughts in a positive way. So then the next moment obviously then is going to be created in that way. So this is how we create our habits. We wake up every day and we kind of saturate our mind with these affirmations. So as I mentioned before, I think it's like 72 hours before a neuron starts to change in our brain from the repetition and starts to accept the possibility of whatever it is that we are manifesting. So repetition is important. However, we can manifest things in a easier way in an instant where we are just thinking about something and it manifests. But a lot of the time when we are consciously wanting to manifest something that we haven't experienced before, there's a little bit of repetition involved. So I wanted to bring in the focus on being intentional with the energy. When we're more intentional with the energy, we're building more trust within ourselves. And from my own perspective, I think the whole premise of anything that we're creating is to build this trust within ourselves, that the whole world could literally fall asunder. But because we have that trust inside ourselves, we stand strong and we stand confident in our knowing. It's not that we are always, as I say, 100% positive 24/7, because we are human and we're going to have little niggling thoughts here and there. But it's having that self-discipline, that self-awareness as well, to know that the trust that we have within ourselves is enough. So anything that we're creating outside of ourselves, a lot of the time when it becomes effortless manifestation, it's become an effortless manifestation because of the trust that you're building within yourself. So this is why it's very important to be intentional with the energy. When you have a low energy, all of a sudden your low energy is going to cause negative thoughts. It's going to feel triggered within your body, and you're going to have those kind of human emotions that we all feel in low energy. So when we're in low energy, the low energy states of being are, sad, anxious, depressed, we're feeling kind of codependent, and there's all of these limited ways that actually are holding us down, and they're weighing us down as well too, on an energetic level, and then a physical and mental level, where you'll find yourself as well needing to lie down more or needing to sit down more because your energy is really, really weighing you down. So when we are actually in these low states of being, we want to come into compassion for ourselves. We want to know that we are human and that this too shall pass, because nothing is set in stone. Everything is always shifting and changing. And it's up to us then how we actually decide when we're actually going to allow ourselves to overcome whatever emotion it is that we have. As well, in these moments as well, if you are somebody who is able to kind of take yourself away and kind of be with yourself in these moments as well too, because when we are operating in a low energy state of being, and we're not being aware of it and we're not being intentional, we're kind of going to be maybe translating that then onto others who are around us, and we're not going to be showing up in the way that we desire to show up. Because when we're desiring to show up in a more evolved kind of way, we're not going to want to be showing up with our friends and family in a way that is lowered, that we're actually bringing people down with our energy. So when we're being intentional with our energy, we know that we can take a few minutes to actually soothe ourselves, to have compassion with ourselves, and to give ourselves that little bit of love, I suppose you could say, self-love. Again, when I mentioned before self-love is really the acceptance of yourself even when you don't like yourself. So when you are accepting your low states of being and soothing yourself through it, that is you being intentional in your energy. And there's so much power in that. Like the power that you get from actually soothing yourself through that energy, and then allowing yourself, if you need to talk to somebody, then you can allow yourself to actually open up as well too. You're able to be more vulnerable when you are actually able to show up in that way for yourself, because when you give yourself the time to have a little moment to yourself and soothe yourself out of it, then you're actually able to show up better with your partner or family, or someone who actually just desires to support you and listen to how you are feeling. So when you do that, then you're operating in a higher energy, and then this is kind of manifesting itself then to unfold in a different way in your reality, because you're actually telling your reality that you're trusting your energy, and you're actually knowing your energy and being intentional with your energy. And so rather than putting it outside of you and blaming anything outside of you, you're coming within. And because you're coming within, the outside sees how much trust you have in yourself, and that's when things start to reflect as well too, because you're building it from within. Everything is an inner job, and it comes from our thoughts. It'll always be from our thoughts, because our thoughts are the first thing that actually is manifested in us. Even when we open our eyes in the morning, when we wake up in the morning, we have a thought. It's the first thing that we manifest. Now, unconsciously, there's a lot of thoughts that we may have that we would have experienced over our life. And also as well too, our body has this energetic power within us that knows how to, sustain us and keep us alive and keep our heart beating. And so all of this is going on within us. There's a lot of energy going on even when we're asleep. And so we want to be mindful of how we are being intentional with our energy when we are awake as well too. Now, when we become more intentional with our energy, we're also more accepting then, of others as well too, because we become more open, and our minds are more open to compassion and to love as well. And so we can see others from a different perspective then as well too. We have more compassion and understanding for others as well. Because we have more compassion and understanding for others, that is us then manifesting changes in others around us as well too. Remember, everything is coming from the perception that you have within your mind. It's never outside of you. Everything is being created in here and in your heart. And when it's coming from a true heart desire as well, that is the truth. That is the ultimate truth that you will ever gain within yourself, is connecting what you believe into your heart. Because when you really believe something in your heart, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if your mind is playing tricks and showing you things that you don't desire, or playing negative thoughts in your head. When you have that actually knowing belief in your heart, whatever it is that you desire, it will manifest, because you created that within yourself. And creating that within yourself is really just getting down to whatever you need to think about in order to create that belief. So when we're more intentional with our energy, we then know that we can actually show up in a more, valuable way then for ourselves. We believe in our self-worth a little more, the more that we become more authentic and more intentional with our energy. And when we're more intentional with our energy, we actually are more able to, sit quietly and listen to others, and we decide then as well how we share with others too. Like you don't like a lot of the time we don't actually even have to overshare in order to be liked. We can simply just show up and be ourselves and not have to worry about oversharing our private life, maybe for instance, in order to be liked. People will always love people will always love being around authentic people. It doesn't mean that they're always the one in the room that's always talking, or it doesn't mean that they're always the one in the room that, always has an opinion or anything like that. It just means that you're showing up authentically with yourself. You're kind of in that energy. And because you're in that energy, you're holding that energy within too. And it's always it's always vibrating higher and higher the more you sustain your energy and be intentional with it as well too. So remember, when you're manifesting, that everything is coming from a thought, but it is energetic as well too. And the more we think about something, the more we're creating the belief, and that energy then is what is actually being sustained in our heart in a genuine way, where we can look outside and start seeing the evidence of what it is that we are manifesting. And the more that we are aware of the energy that we hold, the more that we can be intentional with it, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that we are, preserving it in a way that we have peace within our heart, that we can sustain this peace within our heart as well too, because that's ultimately what it's all about. It's all about kind of coming into that center and knowing ourselves and being able to show up for ourselves in a way that translates onto others as well too. So you want to be kind of showing up in a way that you're valuable, you're worthy, and that you are accepted and embraced just as you are, that there's nothing that you have to change, that you're perfect just as you are. And all that is then is kind of coming into that center and building that trust from knowing that you don't have to be a certain way or say a certain thing in order for you to preserve your energy and in order for you to attract what it is that you desire into your reality. So I just wanted to do a quick video on that. If you have any questions, you can comment down below, or you can email me at manifestwithamanda@gmail.com. And of course, I will chat to you soon.